Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frank Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. If this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, right now, we are currently streaming on YouTube. We're trying something different for the month of July. We're very strong and we have very strong numbers on Facebook, but now we want to gear ourselves towards making our YouTube page just as strong. Our Facebook page, as of late, is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, the constituent, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. If you're really about the cause and you really want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, well, make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms. You can subscribe to both of our pages. On Facebook, we could be found under Frankie Olivo. And you can subscribe to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure you subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV on YouTube to tune in. We will not be silenced. And always remember, Brownsville, I am forever, ever grateful for the time and the attention that you provide to me. So thank you so much for your time and your attention. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy Monday. How was y'all's weekend? The city of Brownsville right now is in mourning for the tragic loss of a 4-year-old that because of neglect is no longer here. And that is something that we want to talk about today. We want to focus on that very, very important issue. We titled our program, our episode today, How Much is the Life of a Child Worth? Brownsville, as we all know, we wouldn't be able to afford the life of a human being, much less for a child. So tune in. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to talk about the person that was arrested, and we're going to go into detail and question, was this individual qualified? Was she capable of being around children? That is going to be a very important issue. It's a hot topic. And this is an issue that you as a parent, you as a grandparent, you as a loved one, maybe are starting to consider where you send your kids. You're going to start thinking of all the possibilities that could happen. Is this establishment, is this daycare facility equipped to protect my child, to protect my loved one? That is how we will start today's show. I'm going to start off with the interview, ladies and gentlemen. It is an 8-minute long interview, but it's very, very powerful and it's very, very impactful. So I do apologize for the duration of our introduction, but I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the grandmother and listen to what she has to say. Listen to her voice. It is very, very interesting. And that is how we will start today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville.
Entonces aquí estuvo desde el 18, 19 meses, creo que lo tengo a mi señora aquí. Y él aquí estaba y él venía todos los días, él venía y todos los días, pues confiábamos en que iba a regresar mi hijo siempre bien, pero este día ya no regresó. Y han hecho muchas irregularidades, a mi nuera nunca le marcaron al trabajo para decirle que el niño tuvo un accidente. Mi nuera llegó ahí, se paró en la puerta corriendo porque había mucha policía y nomás la brincaban y le entregaban un niño y otro niño y mi nuera preguntaba, ¿y Logan? Y le decían ahorita, y Logan, cuando sacaron el último niño, la meten a ella y le dicen, Moni García. Y ella dijo, sí, soy yo. Siéntese. ¿Por qué? Porque Logan, le pasó algo a ella. Dijo, no, Jeremías está bien, tráiganmelo, quiero verlo. Y fue Logan, y dice, sí, pero yo creí eso era que me lo iban a entregar chueco, una pie quebrado, una mano quebrada. Y la persona que me lo dijo, me dijo, le vamos a informar que su hijo murió, está muerto. Dice su era, yo quería correr a ver a mi niño, dice, y no me dejaron verlo, no me dejaron hacer nada, no me dejaban ni hablar por teléfono para hablarle a Peter que viniera, para hablarle a usted que se viniera. Dijo, no me dejaban hacer nada. Y me dijeron que el cuerpo ya no estaba, que el cuerpo ya se lo habían llevado a emergencias, y yo les decía, está vivo, y dijeron, no, está muerto. Y no lo hemos podido ver. Se lo llevaron a ellos allá, los tuvieron como 5 horas en la policía, que yo no entendía el por qué los estaban interrogando a ellos, por qué los estaban, pero no los dejaban entrar a la puerta. Yo estaba enojada frente a la policía, que yo quería, ¿por qué los estás interrogando si ellos no lo hicieron? No sabíamos cómo murió mi hijo, no supimos nada por un reporte interno, una información que nos dieron, nos dijeron que él murió asfixiado. Cuando yo pensé, Logan se cayó, Logan se golpeó, se murió. Pero cuando me dijeron de la forma tan cruel, 3 horas a 103 grados en una camioneta, amarrado, eso mató mi vida. Eso mató mi vida porque no he podido dormir. No me puedo imaginar el calor, la sed, sudando. Me imagino su cara de Logan bañada en sudor. Me imagino tantas cosas. Mi nuera está deshecha. A mí me han comentado que las personas son influyentes, pero nosotros no somos influyentes, pero somos una abuela y una madre que está deshecha, que está destrozada porque no solamente asesinaron a mi niño, sino asesinaron a una familia completa, que no sabemos qué hacer porque Bodoque ya no va a salir, Bodoque ya no va a correr, Bodoque ya no va a estar en casa. Entonces, yo lo único que quiero es que se haga justicia, que se vaya todo bien, legal. No importa lo que tengamos que hacer, pero que haya justicia para cada niño, porque ahorita fue mi niño. Yo no quiero que otra familia esté en esta situación, porque te matan, o sea, te matan, te acaban en un ratito, ya no tiene sentido vivir. Entonces, quiero que esta persona dé la cara, que esta persona se comunique con mi nuera, quiero que ella se enfrente a la responsabilidad porque fue una inteligencia y más cosas que hicieron con el cuerpo del niño, más cosas que hicieron ahí adentro, que es inteligencia contra error tras error tras error que hicieron estas personas. No se vale, podrán tener miles, millones, pero su conciencia van a tener un angelito que merecía seguir viviendo, que merecía, era el futuro de nosotros. ¿Ese es el futuro que ellas quieren matar? No se vale, no se vale. La persona que manejó la VEN no está capacitada. $10,000 de multa no es nada, no es nada para lo que ella se llevó. Ella se llevó 4 años de vida. 4 años, la alegría de 4 años y la alegría de una casa. Entonces, no es justo. Podrá salir, se podrá librar de la justicia, de la ley, pero no de Dios. No de Dios. Y te lo garantizo que esa va a ser, ella va a tener un karma y ella va a tener justicia, pero la de allá de arriba, y que esa duele más. Que esa duele más y esa va a estar mal. Por irresponsable, ojalá y no tengan hijos, ojalá y no tenga nietos, ojalá y no tenga una familia donde ella tenga que ver la cara de sus hijos o la cara de sus nietos y saber que por su irresponsabilidad hay una familia que no tiene un pedazo en su corazón, que destrozó toda una familia. Ojalá.
Estamos muy consternados realmente. Yo creo que todo el Valle, todo Brownsville, todo el RGB, en serio queremos justicia para Logan de todo corazón. Yo creo que nos partió el alma. Ayer estábamos todos de luto.
Así
y
es.
Pues Muchísimas gracias. ¿Me puede decir su nombre, por favor?
Sí, mi nombre es Margarita Reséndez Urbina. Soy la abuela paterna de Logan Urbina. Y no voy a dejar que esto quede así. No sé qué tenga que recurrir, no sé qué tenga, a dónde tenga que ir. Si tengo que ir a Austin, voy a ir a Austin. Si tengo que ir a Washington, voy a ir a Washington. Pero eso no se va. El dinero y el poder sí vale, pero a veces vale más la justicia, a veces es justa donde la buscas. Y aquí a lo mejor no hay, pero para otro lado tenemos que tocar puertas y vamos a buscar, no nomás por Logan, vamos a buscar una justicia para que todos estos lugares puedan abrir sus puertas, pero capacitados, pero que el Estado haga algo, que haga una ley donde cada persona que trabaje allá adentro tenga la capacitación por el Estado, que tenga una capacitación, tenga todo un entrenamiento para poder ellas estar manejando vidas chiquitas, pequeñitas, que no se saben defender. Un niño de 4 años no se iba a defender, no se iba a quitar el cinto, no iba a abrir una ventana con una tontería tan grande. Y si un día ella me escucha, quiero mandarte un mensaje y decirte que cada noche, cuando te vayas a dormir, piensa en los gritos del hogar. Piensa cómo mi niño sudó. Y cuando tengas sed, no tomes agua, para que sepas lo que mi niño sintió en su garganta por 3 horas que lo dejaste allá adentro. Eso es lo que quiero que hagas, y eso es lo que te va a perseguir toda la vida. Que mi niño sufrió lo peor, que lo hiciste que pagara lo peor cuando era un niño inocente, un niño feliz, un niño amado, un torbellino, pero un torbellino bello. Y gracias, te doy gracias por salirte de la justicia, pero de la de Dios no te vas a escapar, nunca te vas a escapar. Y a todas las personas que trabajaron aquí, que trabajan y que están con niños, pues de aquí, de este lugar, todos les deseo que enfrenten sus problemas, porque no les guardo rencor, esperen la justicia divina. Eso es todo.
Muchísimas gracias. Estamos aquí.
The city of Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, is in mourning. You heard firsthand from the grandmother of the 4-year-old that sadly passed away. And if I can put some context to the story, this story has been going viral as of late, and many people have been questioning. How can a child be overlooked? Uh, the day started, ladies and gentlemen, like any ordinary day. This daycare preschool center uh, had a field trip in the city of Los Fresnos. If you haven't been already, they have a little farm slash safari where you can go and be up close and personal with animals. You're talking about animals from Africa, animals, exotic animals, even here local livestock. They have ostriches, zebras, animals that you can pet, that you can feed. If you haven't gone, I encourage you to take your family. It's a beautiful experience. It's great to be out there to see animals that we're not too familiar with. I think the closest one, if I'm not mistaken, is possibly in San Antonio. But this is a great environment for the family to go to. So if you can just picture the joy that these children had, they possibly didn't have ever seen an ostrich, a zebra up close, an ox. I went earlier this year, and it was a great experience. It really was. It was something that I have never experienced. So you can just imagine the joy in these children, something that they haven't. We don't see that at the zoo. We do have a petting zoo, but when you have these exotic animals right in front of you, it's a different experience. And one thing that we gathered from the individuals that we contacted was that this was an ordinary day. This was a field trip that the children were very excited about. As you can see, there are multiple children, possibly 20 children that participated. Throughout the different pictures, we did come across 2 adults that were chauffeuring, accompanying these children, but I didn't see any more people with these children. What is interesting to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen, was that it quickly turned into tragedy hours after the van showed up at the daycare. You could imagine they were possibly tired from their little excursion. They were excited, possibly talking about stories. Hey, I pet a camel. I saw a zebra. I saw an ostrich. I fed these animals. A day that started with joy when they were getting presentations in regards to other species quickly turned into sorrow. The Learning Club preschool, shortly after arriving, realized that one child was missing. One child from the group was unaccounted for. Now, I don't want to stand here before you and say that I am an expert in childcare and the procedures and protocols that these different facilities have. If I can speak from my own experience, when I was a young lad in elementary, when they took us out for field trips, I remember, and you possibly could relate or understand, that we always had a buddy system. We always held the hand of our fellow students, and they always made sure, hey, if you need to go to the restroom, raise your hand. Make sure you hold your buddy's hand. There were always accountability. It was always something where the teachers, those individuals that chauffeured, accompanied the children, were always vigilant. Were always aware of where the children were. We would think that an excursion such as this, where livestock, animals were around, was something that was of utmost importance. Why? Because let's say, for God forbid, if a child fell down, they would be hurt. So you would have to have these children accounted for. Also, remember, there's a head count every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, every 15 minutes, to be on the safe side. You're always okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, we came in with 20. There's 20. Okay, good. Let's go, guys. Isn't that the case? Well, we would think that would be the logical explanation for it. Could we blame technology that an individual was not aware of the children because she was on her phone? It's hard to say. Again, right now, preliminary investigations is just starting, and many people are questioning and asking themselves, what happened on that tragic day? Because a day that started, ladies and gentlemen, a day that started as an experience, a wonderful experience, a once in a lifetime experience, quickly turned into sorrow, quickly turned into something very, very serious, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, the city of Brownsville and the Brownsville Police Department is investigating the death of a 4-year-old. At approximately 4:55 on Friday, Brownsville Police Department responded to an emergency call at the Learning Club preschool, which is located at 3900 block of Paredes Line Road. According to Brownsville PD, the 4-year-old's body was found inside a daycare's van, unresponsive, and was pronounced dead by the emergency medical staff, EMS. This incident remains under active investigation at this time. It's easy for one to play Monday morning quarterback. One who has never experienced sorrow. Possibly we can't understand what the family is going through, we could possibly have an idea. Sleepless nights, asking what if I was the parent, what could I have done different? You start questioning, you start regretting things. This was a preschool, ladies and gentlemen. This was a preschool that this child attended since he was 8, 9 months, according to the grandmother. If you go back to the video and listen. And whenever parents enroll their children in these facilities, well, they take tours. They see firsthand of the relationship that the teacher student have. They ask, do they have cameras? Is this a place where it is safe for my child? Are all the check marks there worthy of me saying, you know what, this is the best place for my loved one to learn? And look, not all of us, ladies and gentlemen, have the luxury of having a spouse stay home to raise our children. You and I live paycheck to paycheck. Well, the majority of us. That's the reality of life. Not everybody, ladies and gentlemen, is able, not everybody makes sufficient money. Not able has sufficient money to have their loved one raise their kids at home. Today, with inflation, with the economy, with the rent being so high, with the quality of life being so expensive, it's the norm for both mom and dad to work to pay the bills. I would not want to be in their shoes. And, I've experienced tragedy, I've experienced death in these past few years, and it's very difficult, very, very difficult. And they say that when death comes, it comes in montón. The death of a child is, they say that that's the worst pain a, a, a father son, a father mother could ever experience. The realities of life is, or the expectations of life is, that the children are the ones that bury their parents and not the other way around. We could imagine the grief, the sorrow in which these parents are living on that tragic day. If we talk about what the grandmother said, a lot of red flags come out. And look, there's no proper way to handle this type of situation. There really isn't. But they didn't inform the parents right away. They were probably freaking out. Again, this is a tragedy. This is this is sad all the way through. Any way you look at it, it's sad. The grandmother said that these owners were influential people. She said they may escape justice on this earth, but they will never escape justice from God. Were the owners neglectful in this tragic event? Now, we do expect, ladies and gentlemen, we do expect for lawsuits to be filed. That is something that's going to happen sooner or later. Many people are asking, hey, why is it? Why is it that it's only the driver that is being arrested? Is she the only responsible adult that should be arrested? Now, the reason why I played that interview, ladies and gentlemen, was because I want you to hear the grandmother's voice, the despair, the heartache, the pain. It's very real. It would be different if you heard me saying about it when you hear the actual grandmother footsteps away from where the van was located, where her grandson, where the love of her life was. It's very impactful. It's very powerful. It was beautiful to see how the community has come together in mourning. A GoFundMe page has been shared with the family, and I'm gonna share it right now. And look, this isn't where and nobody is forcing you to uh, to cooperate. If you find anything in your heart to help alleviate the parents in any way, I encourage you to donate $5, $10. And no, money is not going to take away the pain. It's really not. But can you imagine how their life has been turned upside down? How their life now will never, ever be the same. They won't be able to work for a while. They won't be able to sleep. Restless nights are ahead of them. Many people have criticized and said, "Oh, first the campaign for the GoFundMe was at 12,000, then it went to 15,000, then it went into 22,000. Is this a money grab?" Really, ladies and gentlemen? The family could be awarded in a lawsuit millions of dollars. They're still going to be empty inside. Their heart is still going to feel the pain. Their life will never, ever be the same. I'm sharing with you on YouTube the GoFundMe page. If you find it in your heart to donate, please do so. $5, $10, $1. Something to help them get by. And the city of Brownsville has come up. Well, I wouldn't say just the city of Brownsville, but the community has seen 500 donations so far, which they've raised $15,000. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you the question: how much is the life of a child worth, Brownsville? How would you feel if it was your child that was overlooked? And we weren't going to talk about this issue because, but our community reached out to us and said, "Hey, look, you may want to look into the person in question, the person that was arrested." We learned that the Brownsville Police Department did release a statement on Saturday, the day that this individual on the screen was arrested. And it kind of got me thinking, if you were to put a price on the life of a human being, what would that price be? If we were to put a price on the life of your child, how much would that be? Brownsville Police Department did issue a statement, and they said the Brownsville Police Department has made an arrest in connection to the tragic death of a 4-year-old at the Learning Club preschool. Karen Silva, of 36 years old, was taken into custody yesterday and was formally charged with injury to a child causing death, a second-degree felony. Silva was arraigned and is currently in custody. She was taken into custody on Friday and was arraigned on Saturday morning. She was issued a $10,000 bond. Now, we understand that this was a tragedy. And if you were to ask me, is this individual on this screen, did she want this to happen? I don't think so. No. Who would want this to happen? But throughout our investigations, we learned very troubling information in regards to this person in question that I have before you on the screen. I ask again, Brownsville, how much is the life of a child worth to you? She was issued a $10,000 bond. But what have we seen from her? A very troubling past, ladies and gentlemen. Back in 2022, 3 years ago, she made an outcry. She made an outcry to the district attorney's office in Matamoros. She went on to say, "Yo soy Karen Aisha Silva Cisneros y estoy haciendo una denuncia pública por la falta de acción y la negación por parte de las autoridades para tomar cartas en el asunto de un delito de presunto abuso sexual que se le hizo a mi hija por parte de su progenitor", señaló la madre de la supuesta víctima, quien ya se encuentra divorciada, pero asegura, teme por su vida y la de sus hijas. Here before you, ladies and gentlemen, I have a news article that was published in 2022 where this individual that was recently arrested, she made a public outcry. And she said that the investigations were not in her favor because she made an outcry, allegations that her former husband had abused one of her children. That she was in fear of her life. Somebody posted, "My 4-year-old goes there. How are they still functioning after letting that poor child down? It should be shut down. Their license revoked. They didn't even call the parents to let the severity of the situation. All of the teachers that day should have gone to jail. Justice for baby Logan." So this facility is still up and running. But this allegations, ladies and gentlemen, turned out to be false. Miss Karen Silva attended St. Joe, and people reached out to me and questioned her mental state of mind. They said that she's always had issues. They said that these allegations against her husband were false. Nothing was done to the husband. Now, again, I ask you the question, ladies and gentlemen. How much is the life of a child worth? Because according to our justice system, and look, I don't want to place blame on the judges because, how can I say this? They are bound by guidelines, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like they invent bonds. It's like a measuring stick. If you fall under a certain category, this is your range. Now, before the judge, there is a prosecutor, there is the district attorney's office that is requesting a certain amount. If they are violent offenders, they would probably ask the judge to set a bond on the higher spectrum of that model, of that guideline. The judge ultimately decides, is this person a threat to society? And also, our justice system is designed in a way for us Americans to have a reasonable bond. This isn't a dictatorship where they could say, oh, you were caught with drugs, you're going to get a $10 million bond. Nobody's going to be able to pony up the money. So we live in a judicial system here in the United States where we try to make it fair, where bonds are reasonable. But here before you, I have an individual that was recently incarcerated at the Carrizales Cameron County Jail in Olmito, Texas. And they received a similar bond that this woman received. This individual was slanging. They were caught with possession of a controlled substance. And they were given a bond amount of $10,000 for that. Here we have another individual who was charged with endangering of a child. He was given a $20,000 bond. This child did not die. This charge was either because, and look, endangering of a child means many things. Maybe they were involved in a fight right in front of the child. Maybe they were, I don't know, neglecting the children. They were not feeding them. They were not bathing them. There was a danger to that child. Well, our story in question received a lower bond, even though the child passed away. Because here we have an endangering child that received a $20,000 bond. It's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad because whenever you think about the individual in question, she was not qualified to watch over children. Why? Because she has mental issues. This is something that is known. Obviously, I didn't know about it because I wasn't familiar with that person. But I want you to ask yourself, Brownsville, what is being done? Are background checks being done? Serious background checks being done. Do you know who's watching your child right now? Did you drop off your loved one at a facility that you have no idea who's watching them? Of their past? Of their mental state of mind? Now, people have asked me, hey, be careful when you talk about this. And I said, no, these are our children. Our most prized possessions, ladies and gentlemen. You would not leave your children with just anybody. It pains me to learn that this individual is not qualified. She has mental issues. Issues that are very, very serious. And again, why is she the only one that is being charged? Was she the driver? According to the grandma, it said that she's not qualified, that things are going to come out about her. What else is going to come out about this individual that was arrested? How do you feel as a parent? How do you feel as a grandparent? Is she even certified? I know the individuals that drive vehicles for companies, they're drug tested if something happens right away. What is the investigation going to bring out? It's sad, but this shouldn't have happened. Protocols. were overlooked. Why wasn't there? That's why state takes serious staff trainings and certifications and permits. And I guarantee you, Frank, lots of daycares don't have the staff trained. That goes to adult daycares. Lots of fraud going and taking advantage of adult checks and retirement checks. Why they give this lady $10,000 bond? That's not fair. Death, kids' death doesn't matter. I wonder what the parents are thinking right now. I wonder if they were aware that the individual that was placed in the care of their child made false allegations against her ex-husband. I wonder if they are aware that this individual suffers from mental health. And look, I'm not belittling nobody, ladies and gentlemen. All of us in our own unique way, we all have mental health issues. That's the reality of life. And we all choose to cope with life in different ways. I am no judge. We all suffer from it. We all grieve differently. We all get by life in our own unique way. Life is difficult. Life is hard. Day in and day out, we get closer to death. Our body starts failing us. Our mental capacities aren't the same anymore. Mental health issues are real. Did the parents know that this individual suffers from mental illness? That she had previously made false allegations against her husband, her ex-husband? How often should parents ask about who's watching my child? How often should we ask for certifications? Are these people trained? I am giving you, how much are daycares, they, They're expensive, aren't they? Aren't they like $200 a week, 150? They're expensive from what I understand. And depending on where you go to, some have more safety security cameras where it allows the parent to view live to see what their child is doing, who's in front of them. But it's my understanding that daycares are very expensive. If you're paying top dollar, don't you feel as if you should get the very best treatment for your child? Hey, I'm paying you good money. Some parents pay what, $500 minimum? $750, $1,000? Why? Because the parents are working from 8 to 5, possibly longer. The children stay there from 7:30 to 6:30, 7 p.m. They're there 12 hours. Daycares are very expensive. You would expect that if you're paying top dollar, if that was me, I would ask for certifications every month. I would ask for cameras. I would put my child in a facility. To me, ladies and gentlemen, and I know, to me, my woman and my mother are the only ones that are going to raise my child. That's just me. And the suegra. That's just me. I understand, we live paycheck to paycheck, and it's hard for us because both mommy and dad have to work. They both have to bring in a paycheck. So not everybody has the luxury to do that. It's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad that the city of Brownsville is seeing this firsthand. It's sad that the parents, that the grandmother of the video we showed you is going through this. It shouldn't have happened. What is the investigation going to find? That this individual didn't do a head count because she was on her phone. She was occupied with other things. And look, being in charge of children is very, very difficult. I'm not trying to say that this is easy. This is very difficult. That one person is not responsible for all the children. It's a collective effort. I remember going on field trips where for a classroom of 20, 30 children, we had 4, 5, 6 people on that field trip. And they were always counting, making sure that everyone was accounted for. Always. I remember I was a kid and raise your hand. Are you with your holding? If you go to the restroom, make sure you tell us. If you need to go to the restroom, we'll take you. Hold your hand with your buddy. And they're always 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. All right, let's go. Next one. It takes a village. It takes a village. So why is this the only individual that is being arrested? Because she was a driver? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions in regards to this. And look, we understand the investigation is preliminary. Will charges be upgraded? Possibly. Will other individuals be arrested for this? We hope so. If you are providing a service for our most prized possession, you should be held to a higher standard. How much is the life of your child worth? A parent just messaged me that this place is still in operation. I heard she's out on bond. Supposedly the owners are wealthy people. We will see. We will see. It's sad, ladies and gentlemen, that this facility is still in operation. It's sad that parents are still sending their children there. Again, it is not my job or my duty or my quest to talk bad about businesses. No, if you know what we're all about, we support local business. We support entrepreneurs. Hey, we're small business owners ourselves. We know the struggle. It is not our duty for our platform, for this mic, to talk bad about business owners. It's not my job. That is not the way I roll. I have a family member who asked another family of mine to take care of their child because he did not like the reviews about daycares. No one, Gabi, no one will take care of your child the way a parent does. No one's going to love them. No one's going to be patient with them. No one is going to aguantar. Children are a menace. Children are difficult. And no one's going to give them the love, the attention, the kindness, the care that they deserve than their own parents, than their own grandparents. You know it's true. What happens whenever a stepfather comes into the life of a child? They don't treat them the same. Nah, you're not mine. That's just reality. No one will treat your child better than you or your parents. The grandparents van a chiflar al hijo, a la niña. Los van a chiflar. That's what grandparents do. Grandparents are supposed to spoil us. And you know they're not going to let nothing harm them. Nothing at all, because that's their grandbaby. Their pride and their joy. I had difficulty preparing for this story. I wasn't going to talk about it. But somebody brought it up to my attention and said, you better talk about it. It is my hope, ladies and gentlemen, that these programs reaches the ears of our district attorney, reaches the ears of the community, and let us know that, hey, we want answers. This isn't enough. And again, we're playing Monday morning quarterback because it's easy for us on this side to say, oh, place blame. And we understand. But we as a community demand more. We want more. Why? Because that is the most precious thing that we have in this world. Ladies and gentlemen, to my citizens of Brownsville, how much is the life of your child worth? Is it worth a measly $10,000? Is it? If we would put an amount, ladies and gentlemen, of what our babies are worth, we wouldn't be able to afford them. They're worth all the gold and precious gems that they are on this earth, and possibly more. $10,000, ladies and gentlemen, just sends a bad message, a very bad message. And I understand the judges are bound by guidelines, by what would happen if that was your child? How would you feel? We wouldn't even think about it. We would give our life for theirs because we've already lived our lives. We've already experienced life. But a 4-year-old, I ask you, citizens of Brownsville, I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, how much is the life of your child worth? Is it worth a measly $10,000? Or is it worth a little bit more? My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville.